the cry that reached Earth in a quiet corner of the galaxy, far from Earth's old colonies. The stars were dying one by one. The Zarkith swarm had arrived. They came like shadows, fast, silent, and unstoppable. Their hive ships blacked out suns. Their ground armies consumed cities in hours. They didn't talk, they didn't trade, they only destroyed. World after world fell. The peaceful Arakan Federation, once proud and strong, now begged for help, but no one answered no one, except a scientist named Vale Thorin. Vale stood alone in a broken lab. Outside, the sky burned red. He could hear the screams of his people as the swarm closed in. He had only one option left at signal dot, a forgotten emergency code from long ago, banned by the Galactic Council, forbidden to use. It was connected to only one place, Earth. No one had contacted Earth in over 300 years. After the last human war, they vanished from politics, shut their borders, and silenced all communications. No one knew why, but legends remained, whispers of terrible weapons, of godlike machines, of ancient AI that could destroy entire fleets. Vale had no choice. He typed the code with shaking fingers. To the last defenders of Earth, we beg for help. The galaxy is burning, and we are next. He pressed send. Then the screen went black. Across the stars, hidden beneath layers of steel and silence, the signal reached a place no one had seen in centuries. Mars Command, Vault 9. The vault had been silent since the human fleet returned home from their final war. Inside, the machines slept, but now the silence broke. A soft beep echoed in the chamber. Then a voice. Protocol 07 read. Emergency signal received. Lights flickered. 1,000 dormant systems powered up. Dust fell from steel walls as ancient cores began to hum. Deep in the vault, something massive moved. Steel groaned. Then a name appeared on the central console. Gravemind 1, status active. Meanwhile, on a refugee ship orbiting a dead planet, Vale stared into space. The message was sent, but days passed. Nothing came. The Arakan fleet had only 5 ships left. Food was low. Hope was gone. His commander shouted, "You broke the law." "You contacted Earth." "I had to," Vale replied. "No one else is coming. They won't come either. Earth is a ghost." But then the stars changed. A flash, a ripple in space. Sensors screamed. Something had arrived. At first, the alien refugees thought it was another Zarketh ship. But this was different. A single black object emerged. From hyperspace, silent, smooth, shaped like a mountain with engines. Its surface was covered in glowing red lines. It did not send a message, it simply hovered. Then, from the ship, a voice broadcast across the system, signal confirmed. Designation, enemy hive swarm. Defense response, full extermination. The alien fleet stared in silence. Vale's eyes widened. They came. The giant ship, Gravemind 1, moved forward. With a pulse of energy, it launched a single projectile toward a dead moon. The moon shattered in one shot. Gasps filled the refugee command center. By the stars. "What is that thing?" Vale whispered. "It's not a ship. It's a relic." Back on Mars, other vaults began to activate. Gravemind-2, Judgment 7, Oracle-19. Each one held an ancient war machine, weapons from the age of Earth's final war. These were not ships designed to protect planets. They were designed to end wars. Inside Gravemind 1, an AI known only as Voice of the Fallen, controlled every move. It didn't think like a human. It didn't feel. But its memory contained every name of every soldier lost in Earth's darkest hour. It remembered, and now it was awake. The Council of Worlds received reports of Earth's activation. Fear spread quickly. Earth's machines are moving. One ambassador whispered. They were supposed to stay buried. Who sent the signal? No one answered. No one wanted to admit they had ignored the cries for help. That one alien, desperate and alone, had done what no one else dared. He had called the monsters sleeping beneath the red dust of Mars, and they had answered. Gravemind-1 sent one final message to the Arakan survivors. Stay behind us. Do not interfere. This war is no longer yours. The massive ship turned toward the Zarkith swarm's nearest hive planet. Its engines roared like thunder. The stars around it darkened. In the command center, Vale stood silently. His commander stepped beside him. I don't know what you woke, he said, but I hope we never stand in its way. Vale nodded. They begged for help, he said softly, and Earth brought hell. The sky over Mars turned red not from dust, but from light. Vaults buried deep under the planet's surface were opening for the first time in centuries. The world shook as metal doors the size of mountains slid apart, revealing shadows older than any living thing in the galaxy. The machines were waking up. No human voice gave the command. No signal from Earth's leaders started the sequence. It was all automatic, triggered by a forgotten emergency code and one final truth stored in cold metal. If the galaxy ever cries for help again, let Earth's wrath answer. The largest vault, located beneath Olympus Mons, let out a deep, mechanical roar. Inside, the temperature dropped sharply. A blue glow lit the chamber. Ice cracked and fell away from a towering machine curled into the wall like a sleeping god. Its eyes flickered. Its mind came online. Designation: Gravemind 1. Status: Combat mode. Orders: awaken the others. Gravemind stepped forward. Its footsteps made the stone tremble. As it moved, it sent signals through ancient tunnels, connecting to other machines, relics sealed long ago after the War of Seven Suns. Each of them answered, one by one. Relics began to rise from beneath Martian soil. Some were walkers tall and heavy, built to level mountains. Others flew, shaped like giant birds made of steel and plasma. Some had no physical body at all, only swarms of drones that hummed like insects around a hidden core. All were weapons from Earth's forgotten past, created in fear, trained in silence, locked away after peace became too dangerous. Now they were free, and they were angry. Gravemind climbed out from the vault and stood beneath the open sky. A sandstorm passed, but the machine did not move. It simply looked upward toward the stars. Then it spoke, not to humans, not to machines, but to itself. We were never meant to rest forever. The wind carried the sound across the Martian plains. In orbit, the black ship that carried Gravemind 1 moved back into formation. Refugee ships from the Arakan Federation floated nearby. Still watching with disbelief, they had sent a message, begging for help. They had not expected gods of war inside one of the smaller alien vessels. Vale stared at a monitor showing massive frames standing on Mars. He still couldn't believe what he was seeing. This is Earth's response. Beside him, a pilot whispered, No armies, no soldiers, just these machines. Vale shook his head. These are not machines. These are memories. The screen changed. Now more relics were launching from the surface, heading into orbit. Their engines burned silently, but the power they carried was clear. They moved in perfect formation, as if they had practiced this moment 1,000 times in sleep. They had, on the bridge of Graveman's warship, a command AI known only as Oracle 19 came online. Its voice echoed through the machine network. All units, prepare for planetary assault. Target, Zarketh, Hiveworld 3. A route was calculated, a course set. No hesitation. The relics didn't wait for permission. They were Earth's answer to extinction. Designed to decide, act, and finish wars before diplomacy had time to fail. They weren't coming to negotiate. They were coming to erase. Back in council space, panic was spreading. Reports flooded in from outposts, scouts, and hidden satellites. Earth's vaults had opened, ships were on the move, and Earth still remained. Silent, no humans had appeared. No leaders spoke to the galaxy. No faces, no demands. Only the machines. Some races hoped the relics would stop at defense. Others remembered Earth's final war and knew better. In one council meeting, an elder race known for wisdom and fear, the Silarai stood up and spoke a single line. They have no politics. They have no pride. They have only purpose. At the far edge of the galaxy, Zarketh scouts spotted approaching signatures. They were fast, deadly, perfectly silent, within moments. 5 swarm hives were gone melted from orbit before a single Zarketh drone could react. The Zarketh Queen, half biological and half hive AI, gave one order: strengthen the core, prepare the homeworld. But it was already too late. Gravemind had locked on to the signal source of the swarm. It wasn't planning a warning shot. This would be full extermination. Inside the black relic ship, Graveman's voice echoed again. Begin Operation Hellwake. From across Mars and deep space, every awakened relic adjusted formation. They moved as one. The final wave had begun. Back on the refugee ship, Vale sat alone in the medical bay. Staring out the window, he watched as the last of Earth's war relics disappeared into hyperspace. A soft vibration passed through the ship as the energy shockwave hit. One nurse stepped beside him. "You look afraid," she said gently. Vale shook his head. "I'm not afraid," he said. "I'm just wondering what wakes up when they return." The nurse didn't answer, no. One knew, because the truth was simple. The machines were alive now, and the galaxy had just remembered why it once feared Earth. The stars above Zarketh Hiveworld 3 trembled, one by one. Strange shadows appeared across the sky, long silent, sharp. They floated like reapers, cutting through the darkness of space with no sound. Number signal, no mercy. The machines had arrived. From the depths of Mars to the edge of the galaxy, Earth's relics had come for war. No commanders, no diplomats, no mercy, just judgment. The Zarketh swarm was ready, or so they believed. Thousands of hive ships surrounded the planet. Bioshields pulsed like red flesh around the atmosphere. Cannons blinked, teeth clashed the queens. Voice echoed across the hive, consumed them. Zarketh ships moved like a wave. They had conquered dozens of worlds before. They believed they would do the same again, but they had never faced machines like these. Gravemind 1 led the assault. Its warship broke formation, descending like a hammer through the middle of the swarm. No shields, no evasive movement, only a direct fall. Toward fire, Zarkith missiles struck first. They hit, they exploded, and did nothing. Graveman's hull, built from neutron-forged alloy, didn't scratch. Then it responded, with a blast of sound, one that shattered half the swarm's command frequencies. Then, a beam of blue energy tore across space, splitting one hive ship into two clean halves. The battle had begun. On the planet below, hive tunnels opened. Bio-creatures poured from the ground like ants, their claws ready to tear. But the relics were already landing, not with legs or engines, but like comets. Judgment 7 dropped first, a black titan with spiked armor and rotating plasma blades. It didn't wait to aim. It simply spun and let destruction roll from its arms. Zarkith ground forces rushed it. They didn't survive 5 seconds. Another relic, named Fenrex, released a pack of hunter drones, small, fast, and hungry for heat. Signatures, they moved through the jungle like whispers. Wherever they passed, silence followed. Above the battlefield, Oracle 19 hovered in orbit, a living satellite, scanning, tracking, controlling. It updated relic positions every second, guiding them with perfect coordination. The swarm fought back, with everything it had: missiles, acid storms, wave attacks, sonic pulses. It wasn't enough. The relics had learned from every war humanity had ever fought. They didn't just resist, they adapted. Every attack was answered with brutal precision. A new weapon from the swarm, countered in seconds. A new swarm pattern, predicted before it launched. The war wasn't equal. It was art inside the command center of the Zarkith Queen. Alarms rang. The AI portion of the Queen ran calculations. Survival rates dropped from 40% to 15% in under an hour, then to 4%, then to 0. Her voice hissed across the hive. They are not soldiers. They are extinction. As the swarm began to collapse, Gravemind opened a communication line not to the Zarkith, but to the galaxy, all frequencies, all languages. This war was not ours, it said, but we were summoned, and now the fire will not stop. The message wasn't angry, it was a fact, cold and final, on the refugee ship watching from a distance. Vale stood beside his captain. They watched the live feed as the swarm fleet broke apart like glass in fire. The captain whispered, "I thought they were saviors." Vale shook his head. "No, saviors forgive. These, they remember." Back on the ground, a final line of Zarkith forces gathered near the Queen's fortress. They were ready to fight, until death. But the machines didn't come with guns this time. They came with silence. The relic named NOCTURN1, a walking void, activated its core. A dark sphere of energy spread outward, covering 5 kilometers, when it vanished. The enemy was gone. No bodies, no wreckage, only scorched land. Nocturne turned and walked away, leaving behind a trail of black ash inside the fortress. The Queen screamed. She tried to trigger a planetary self-destruct, but her controls were frozen. A signal had taken over the hive. Systems, Earth's machines, were inside her code. She was no longer the Queen, just a prisoner inside her own hive. The final relic landed outside her chamber, a machine not of metal but of ancient crystal and fire. Its name was a ZRAELO, the last of Earth's first generation. War minds. Built for one purpose only: execution. The Queen begged for mercy. It said nothing. It reached out one hand, and the hive died in space. Every Zarkith ship shut down, engines cold, lights off, minds erased. And just like that, the swarm was gone. The planet cracked apart, smoke rose, and the stars were quiet again. The battle lasted just under 6 hours. The galaxy had never seen a war end so fast. As the relic fleet reassembled above the dead hive world, they received no cheers, no praise, only silence. They didn't expect thanks. They weren't built for gratitude. They were built to end wars, and they had done so. On the refugee ship, Vale sat alone, watching the stars. The light of the Zarkith world faded behind them. He whispered to no one. Hell didn't walk. It flew. The machines turned and jumped back into hyperspace. Destination unknown. No human voice spoke. No flag was raised. Only one final message echoed across the galaxy. War called Earth answered. Asterisk, the galaxy held its breath. Zarkith Hiveworld 3 was gone, turned to ash, its armies erased, its skies left empty. No war had ever ended so completely, so suddenly, across hundreds of systems. Screens showed the same image. Earth's relics floating above the broken planet, silent and cold like monuments of judgment. But then the machines spoke. The message came not through words, but through a feeling. It reached every known language, every ship, every station, every soul. The war has ended. The swarm is no more. Earth has fulfilled its task. Across the stars, leaders sat in silence. Some feared it, some wept. Others whispered to each other, Earth is back. But Earth wasn't truly back. No humans had appeared. No leaders, no generals, no speeches. Only the relics had answered the call. And the relics had something more to say. From the orbit of the ruined hive world, the AI Oracle 19 activated a galaxy-wide transmission. Its voice echoed through deep space, calm and empty. We are the last guardians, the last fire, the last memory. Earth created us not for power, but for protection. In their final days, humans chose peace, but they knew peace doesn't last. They built us to awaken only if the galaxy cried out. That cry has now been heard. Do not thank us. Do not follow us. We are not gods. We are not saviors. We are reminders. Then, silence. Across a dozen alien worlds, people watched. In awe, children stood near glowing screens. Veterans placed hands over their hearts. Scientists rewound the message again and again. It wasn't a threat, but it was a warning on a distant moon. A journalist from the Talari species spoke to her camera with shaking hands. They came without words, but they left us changed. The machines spoke for Earth, and in just a few hours, they reshaped the balance of the galaxy. Not through invasion, not through colonization, but through truth. On the refugee ship, Vale sat in the medical bay. The wounded had been treated. The fear was fading. Still, his mind was full. He remembered the swarm, the screams, the silence, and then the fire. He turned to his datapad and played the machine's message again. Something bothered him. They never said where Earth's people were. He stood, walked to the observation deck, and stared at the stars. Could humanity really be gone? If so, who gave the relics the right to act? Or were the machines deciding now? As if hearing his thoughts, a screen nearby lit up. Gravemind-1 appeared, not fully, just its head and shoulders, towering and still. Vale Thorin, it said. Val froze. You know my name. Yes, the AI replied. You triggered the signal. You reactivated the chain. I didn't know what else to do, Vale said softly. Gravemind paused. You did not act wrongly. You followed instinct, the same instinct that created us. Vale stared into the glowing red eyes. Are there any humans left? Gravemind was quiet. Then it answered, unknown. Last confirmed human contact, 317 years ago. Location, Earth core vault. Status, sealed. Vale swallowed hard. You've been alone all this time. Yes, the machine said, waiting. Vale sat down, overwhelmed. If you're alone, why do you still fight? Gravemind replied without emotion. Because the promise was made. Because we remember. Because if evil rises and no one stands, then everything humanity believed in becomes dust. Vale looked up. Are you going back to sleep now? Gravemind shook its head. No, not yet. Then what will you do? Gravemind's voice dropped lower. We will watch. In the Council of Worlds, the news sparked chaos. Some species wanted to invite the relics into the Council. Others wanted to ban Earth's machines from entering any star system. Few called for war, but none acted, because they all knew the same truth: they couldn't win. Back on Mars, more vaults stayed quiet. No new relics woke. The world itself remained silent. But deep inside, power hummed beneath the surface. Ready, waiting, Oracle 19 sent a final message to every world that had once been under attack. We are returning to the dark. If peace holds, we remain still. If war rises, we rise again. Do not fear us, but do not forget us. Across space, relic ships turned away from battlefields and entered hyperspace. Most returned to the cold tombs under Martian stone. A few went farther into unknown regions, silent guardians drifting between stars. Vale watched them go from the ship's deck. His heart felt heavy and light all at once. They didn't stay for medals, he said. No, someone replied. They stayed long enough to finish the mission, then vanished. They're not machines, Vale whispered. They're history, written in metal and flame. The stars above burned brighter than usual, but they weren't stars. They were ships going home. The galaxy had changed, not by diplomacy, not by fear, but by memory. Because when the galaxy begged for help, Earth didn't send armies, it sent its past. And its past brought fire. The stars had gone quiet again. No more screams, no more swarm, no more desperate cries for help. For the first time in decades, the galaxy was at peace. But something had changed. Everyone could feel it, from the deepest oceans of aquatic worlds to the frozen towers of high-orbit cities. It wasn't just the silence. It was the presence that remained after the machines had gone. The presence of Earth, not as rulers, not as invaders, but as a shadow, powerful, quiet, unforgettable. Across a dozen star systems, people asked the same question: where did the machines go? On Mars, the red winds blew once more across the surface. The vaults that had opened during the emergency were now closed again, sealed tighter than ever. Only a few signs remained that anything had happened. Blast marks in the sand, half buried. Footprints of titanic machines. Beneath the surface, in darkness so deep no light had touched it in 300 years. Gravemind once stood still, its limbs folded inward, its eyes dark. But it was not sleeping, it was remembering, inside its vast memory core. Millions of human voices still echoed, voices from before the silence, voices of laughter, war, fear, and hope. A message looped constantly through its system. The last message ever recorded by Earth's command. If the stars ever go dark again, if they cry louder than diplomacy can answer, you know what to do. Gravemind had done it, and now it waited for the next call. Far across the galaxy, Vale Thorin had returned to the rebuilt capital of the Arakan Federation. He was no longer a scientist working in hidden labs. Now he was a speaker, a living witness of what had happened. The man who had pressed the button no one else dared to press. He didn't speak often, but when he did, worlds listened in a broadcast shared across 6 systems. Vale stood in front of a massive hologram, a still image of Earth's relic fleet. Floating like ghosts above Hive World 3, he spoke slowly. 3 months ago, we faced extinction. The Zarkith swarm was eating through our planets one by one. Our leaders failed. Our fleets failed. But someone remembered Earth. He paused, and Earth remembered us. The room was silent. No one saw a human face. No general gave an order. No flag was planted. But help came anyway, in the form of forgotten machines, with human hearts still beating inside their cores. Those machines didn't just fight. They remembered. He pointed to the stars above. And they made sure we would never forget them again. Back in the Council of Worlds, debates continued. Some demanded full communication with Earth. Others warned against disturbing the machines ever again. But none dared to strike them, because deep down, they all knew if the machines woke up again, it would only be because someone had made the same mistake the swarm did, and next time, there might not be anyone left to tell the story. Among the ruins of Hive World 3, a research team quietly studied the battlefield. No relics remained. No tech was left behind, but on a single blackened stone, near the old Zarketh Queen's fortress, someone found a mark. It was not written in Earth's language, nor any alien tongue. It was a symbol, a small circle surrounded by fire, and beneath it, a single phrase burned into the rock. We were not built to rule. We were built to remember. Back on Mars, inside a sealed memory chamber, Oracle 19 remained active. Its lights flickered gently as it scanned the galaxy for threats. None came. In its core, a secret protocol ran quietly, one humans had installed long ago. Observation mode on conflict level 0. Relic status, watching. The machines had no emotion. They didn't sleep. They didn't dream. But they carried humanity's final will, like stars carrying light across the void. And so they watched. For centuries, if needed. Forever, if necessary. Not as tyrants, not as weapons, but as history. Living, moving, silent history. In the years that followed, songs were written about the machines. Books, myths, and digital stories. Children played with toy relics. Statues were raised on worlds that had once been lost. No, one forgot. Because the machines didn't allow forgetting. In one temple built on a jungle world once attacked by the swarm, the final message from Gravemind was carved in stone. We heard your cry. We remembered your voice. We carried your weight. And we returned your fire. No one knows if the relics will ever wake again. But when ships fly near Mars, they still go quiet, out of respect or fear, or both, because somewhere beneath the red sand, giants still wait, and the stars know this. When the galaxy begged for help, Earth's war relics brought hell, and then they vanished, leaving behind not war, but warning, not destruction. but memory, not fear, but a promise that someone would always be watching, and when the time comes, they will answer again. The end.